that it's just sort of thought of as, well, it's AVRATs, and we've always had them, and we always will, and there's nothing really alarming about trends. The problem that looks like at first blush a problem of unemployment and the results of the effects of unemployment on marriage actually has these sort of reverberating effects on youth.
This is the best part.
On and off for 12 years.
So since you were 10?
Like 6 months after my mom died, I would do a shot of meth in one arm and a shot of heroin in the other arm and a shot of Everclear in the same arm that I had done the shot of meth in.
Well, there's obviously more homeless problem now than there was a couple of years ago. It seems like whatever facilities are there are taxed to their limit, and there's more need than there is service available.
I think it's obviously a problem. Something needs to be done about it. I think what we're doing with regentrifying instead of taking care of and coming up with a positive solution on how to rehabilitate, we're taking and just pushing homeless further out and trying to banish them from where we're trying to regentrify the cities. I think it's a huge problem.
Makes me wonder about the kids that are homeless down there, where the parents are, what's happened, and where there might be an outlet for them to go to not be in that situation.
It seems like everybody's not quite as involved in family life growing up as say they were when I was, and to me that seems to be part of it. If you don't feel that somebody's interested in how well you're doing or what you're doing, it's easier to drift off and be a loner.
Where basically things got all fucked up and my brothers and I didn't have anywhere to live. So we wound up starting squatting just right out in front of Nordstrom's, 5th and Pine.
I've referred to in the past as youth idleness is probably increasing, and because people don't have ways of reintegrating themselves into the social fabric through employment or through going to college, and perhaps coming from a family structure that itself is dealing with a lot of chaos, that's likely to really sort of increase the number of homeless youth.
No, I've only been up in Washington actually for about 3 years. I'm originally from Southern California, from Moore Park. I actually have my dad and my mom up here. I'm not on good terms with my dad. That's the only reason why I'm not staying up there with them.
I stayed there for a brief period last year, for only about a month, because I was actually pregnant at the time. In my experience, it's been a lot easier if you're a single individual.
It's just in anyone's life course. 18 to 25 is like really vulnerable time. To reintegrate usually means either attaching yourself to an institution, or reattaching yourself to families. And families we know right now, probably especially in the quote-unquote at-risk population, are really unsettled.
Focus of young adults, which is a really interesting population to look at considering they've aged out of the youth homeless shelters, but they're still young enough that they don't quite feel comfortable in the actual general adult population homeless shelters. The shelter itself is ages 18 to 25, so that already makes it pretty specific as a young adult shelter, but I would say it leans more toward 21 and under. And when we get people that are above 21, they're normally more on the cusp of aging out. So they're 24, 25, just still haven't gotten their stuff together. So they age out pretty shortly after they start accessing the shelter. So it's probably about 80% men and 20% women. We see a lot of girlfriends. We don't see a lot of individual ladies access the shelter.
I have the ability to help people that are or have the potential to be as fucked up as I was. Why not nip that in the bud and try to see if I can help pull them out of that,
New attempts to reach out to homeless youth people who might have been in the foster care system, runaways, that sort of thing, through kind of peer-to-peer relationships.
Better communication between the drop-in centers and the community, you know. You always need like blankets and sleeping bags and gloves and socks, like just basic stuff.
The number one thing that would help out homeless youth or any homeless person is basically transitional housing, because it gives them a place to store stuff. They can take a shower, they can get an alarm clock.
I think we need more free storage for personal belongings.
Best homeless shelter is the one that's empty, and like that's not going to happen. But I think that if people weren't relying on it so heavily, if that it was mostly just transitional and it wasn't such like a dire place to end up, I think I would like to